Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are finally talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going full spoilers. We figure everybody's had a chance to see it now that's going to see it. Caleb has seen it, so full spoilers. We will also be discussing part two of our look at Joe Kelly's run on Deadpool that really shaped the character and a lot of the movies are based off of. Plus, we had D23 this weekend, so Disney announced a lot of stuff. So we're gonna go over that also. But before all that good stuff, Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Um, as far as new things that I've been looking at, uh, this is something that uh, I've been recommended so many times. It definitely seems like it's my bag, but I've just never watched it. Um, but the NBC series Hannibal, I've started watching that a little bit. Um, and the reason that it's my bag is because I love contrary to most people, I actually like the majority of the Hannibal Lecter movies, like even the ones that people think are bad. uh Except for the last one, the Hannibal Rising, the origin one. That one was not good.
Mhm.
uh but and then I also love Dexter. So yeah, I've started watching Hannibal, and I got to be completely honest. Like, oh, so it's really good, and I thought it was going to be like a police procedural thing, starting out, and then kind of become its own thing, kind of like what Gotham was.
Mhm.
Uh, but it kind of just out of the gate is its own thing. Uh, and it's like an art house film, but on TV. It's really weird, and like I said, it's on NBC, and there are things that I'm surprised they got away with on NBC. Like this seems like a show that would be on like Showtime or HBO, but they got away with it.
I feel like when it comes to what they can show and not show on TV, the rules have gone completely out the window. Uh, I remember when I was a kid, this was before your time, people lost their minds over NYPD Blue because a butt cheek was shown or something, and it was
Yeah,
chaos. And now I feel like I feel like South Park would do stuff, and then as soon as South Park did it, then everybody started doing it.
yeah,
Um, and now it's just really anything goes. I really feel like,
yeah. Well, I mean, like, and it's not bloodier than Dexter because Dexter, I mean, he's literally a blood spatter analyst.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, like, there are scenes where I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, this would happen in Dexter.
yeah,
uh, and like the second episode is about a serial killer who like grows mushrooms inside of her victims, and like
okay,
they show all of that.
yeah, yeah. There you go.
But
Yeah,
I,
I feel
I
like they're always pushing the envelope. I mean, like shows like NCIS and CSI were like family entertainment. They were always having autopsies that got more and more
yeah.
graphic, and then so yeah, we're just the next progression of that. So,
I say all that to say that I'm enjoying it.
hmm
But it's really weird because like the only thing I knew about it was that Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal Lecter. Um, but there's so many other people in this show that I didn't realize. Like Jack Crawford is played by Lawrence Fishburne. William Graham is played by Hugh Dancy. Jack's wife is played by Gina Torres. Like there are people in this show.
hmm
So
so yeah, some human shrooms, and
huge shrew.
yeah, so
Oh God. Oh man. Oh man. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me. Other than the fact that we finished with Cape Crusaders, Cameron and I, and we both very much enjoyed it. I believe Cameron's favorite episode was the second episode with Clayface, and mine probably the eighth episode with Natalia Knight is probably my favorite.
Oh,
Uh,
the one with Wussy Jason Todd. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
um. Yeah. So, for me, mostly reading Deadpool and watching Cape Crusader was my week.
Mhm.
I did finish Cape Crusader also. And I think I'm slowly turning one of my kids into a huge Batman fan through this.
Hey, there we go.
So because he's like, oh, can we watch another one? Or he got mad because I watched one without him, and yeah. So
Is that the younger one?
yeah. So I'm like, hey, there's some other shows you'd probably like. And he went to like we have a place called Shenanigans. I don't know if you'll have those up there. It's kind of like an adult Chuck E. Cheese, bowling and all kinds of stuff. Kind of like a
You
Pin
yeah, you
Alley or something or
adult Chuck E. Cheese is a different thing. We call that Spencer's.
no, but like Dave and Buster's,
Yeah, yeah.
something along those lines.
Shenanigans.
Um, and he came home with like a giant inflatable Batman that he wanted. I was like, okay. um, yeah, I liked it overall. I still have my issues. I still feel like sometimes Batman is too dumb, and I don't want to give spoilers for Cape Crusader
Yeah.
here. So
You know, I wouldn't say dumb. They're definitely going the inexperienced route.
yeah, and so the final episode, this is I don't think this is really a spoiler. He starts calling Alfred instead of Pennyworth. Has he been calling him Pennyworth the whole series, or was that
Yes,
just the last? Okay, I just didn't notice.
yes. Well, so that's a big thing. In terms of like modern year 1 to 3 Batman. It's sort of like Beware the Batman, like I said last week. It's about Batman making friends. That's kind of like the whole idea, like Arkham Origins is about Batman making friends. Like I say it in a very funny way, but it's really about him trusting people.
Yeah,
And so the big thing now is Batman is cold even to Alfred until he learns his lesson.
yeah,
Even the Batman kind of had that going on until uh, you know Riddler attacked Wayne Manor. Um, so
yeah.
yeah,
So I,
he's been calling him Pennyworth the entire time.
I think I enjoyed it overall. I'm curious if Bullock is going to get redemption still or not.
That is my question.
It feels like he's gonna turn on. I mean, they're both in trouble at the end of that episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but I feel like I I think there's still a chance for redemption, but it's gonna be hard. Just
I
learning
I
that.
I think Bullock's chance at redemption is he is the one who testifies against Thorne.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Um, all right.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but
We'll talk Cape Crusader more in depth because I think there's a conversation to be had there.
yeah.
Uh,
My favorite episode was probably what was the name? Firebug. I think that
Firebug.
was my favorite episode.
Oh,
Uh,
Tom Kenny is a gem.
yeah, and that episode barely had Batman in it. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't the focus, and it felt like I just enjoyed it more from the police perspective and just how far
Mhm.
Bullock and Flash were willing to go and stuff. And
Yeah, there came a point where this show kind of felt a lot like Sam and Twitch. You ever read
yeah,
any Sam and Twitch?
I know of it. I haven't read
Okay.
it, but yeah, those
For
were
those
Spawn side characters that were
right.
cops, I believe.
Yes, yes. For those who don't know, Sam and Twitch was it was actually written by Bendis. It's one of Bendis's first things. Sam and Twitch was a comic book about the side characters Sam and Twitch, who were detectives slash private investigators, depending on what part of the story you're in. And they are kind of the main characters, and Spawn is a background character who uh, appears every so often and kind of it kind of wraps up the story at the end.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna head over to. Sorry, I was reading, so if I sound dismissive, I wasn't. I was reading all of a sudden. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, as we watch Hollywood kind of implode right now, I don't know if Disney, Paramount, and Warner Brothers are all having like disasters at the same time. There are a lot of write downs are going on, layoffs. It's just not a great time in Hollywood. But D23 happened, and Disney's trying to win some people back. Um, so I sent Caleb a list of the announcements.
Yep.
We probably won't talk too much about the parks. Like I think they announced like a villain land and stuff, some stuff they want to build. But um,
For me personally, I don't think the parks are worth talking about until after one experiences them. Uh,
that, and also just because they announced something doesn't mean they're actually going to build it. you
I
know,
mean, I mean, shout out to Jenny Nicholson, one of my favorite YouTubers. Her 4-hour expose uh, on the Galactic Star Cruiser, brilliant, and it showcases what we lost from the original conception of
yeah.
Galaxy's Edge. Because Galaxy's Edge was original, and here's the thing: as one who went to Galaxy's Edge, I loved it. But there was definitely some things that were promised that were not there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then they ended up putting it in the Galactic Star Cruiser, which ended up failing anyway.
Yeah. So let's get these D23 announcements. There's quite a few, so we're going to go through them pretty quick. Many of
Uh,
them we knew about, but
I'll go ahead and say if you really look at it, there is nothing new. In my
uh,
opinion, this D23 is very disappointing.
I was looking at like if you ignore sequels and remakes, there's like 4 announcements. It's
I
not.
I counted 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first we get Moana 2. Uh, trailer looked like, hey, it's Moana 1. We just added her sister.
Well, so do you know what Moana 2 is?
What is Moana 2?
Um, so Moana was getting a TV show, right?
Oh yes, I have heard this story. Yes.
Uh, Moana 2 is the pilot episode that was like a 4-parter or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
spliced together and released in theaters because they need money. So this is going to have the same production quality and budget as a television show.
Yeah, I really liked Moana 1. It does not need a sequel. This reminds me of like during the 90s when we got like Aladdin 2 and Aladdin 3 and Lion King 2
Yo,
and
Aladdin 2 and Aladdin 3 are dope, though.
those are decent. Cinderella 3 is decent. The rest all kind of suck.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You know what? As a kid, I loved Lion King 1.5 because, like, that's where you make Timon and Pumbaa the main characters. And
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like, if we're being honest, if Moana is Wind Waker, this is definitely Phantom Hourglass. um, and that's the best analogy that I'm going to come up with all day. I promise.
Yeah. All right, let's scroll on
Uh,
down. The much maligned Snow White, starring Rachel Ziegler. She said some crazy stuff about this a couple years ago, made people mad. And at first, they cast random assortment of multicultural people as the dwarves, and now they've said, "Well, we can't do that because people freaked out, so we're gonna have CGI dwarfs because we can't actually hire little people for these roles because that would
something
somehow be offensive according to Peter Dinklage, but the little people want acting roles. I don't know.
Peter Dinklage is punching downwards, which is ironic because of how tall he is.
Yes,
Uh,
Peter Dinklage screwed over a lot of actors, and this also screwed over Time Bandits, where they just said, "Forget it," and it's like, well, you kind of missed the point of the original Time Bandits. So, uh,
I still think that out of anything, the funniest thing is the evil queen is supposed to be jealous of Snow White's
right?
beauty, and it's Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I thought I would have probably cast someone like Sigourney Weaver, who is a very attractive woman, but she's older now, so now she's trying to get back that beauty that
Right.
she's lost or
Right,
something.
right, right, right. If you want to make it believable, make it about youth instead of beauty.
Right. Yeah. This trailer is like, okay, I don't care about the live action stuff, so this trailer didn't nothing
It,
much for me at all.
if I'm going to be completely honest, that there's some things that I'm like, interested in, but the majority of these things I'm not like abhorrently against. I just don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
I've never liked their live action
yeah,
stuff. So
I liked Aladdin, but then at the end of Aladdin, whenever DJ Khaled and uh
God,
no, legit, DJ Khaled and Will Smith for the closing credits did a hip hop version of "You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me," and I'm like, this is what the whole movie should have been. You get Will Smith to be the genie, and this is not a rap musical. Are you kidding me? Uh,
no, I
so
think Danny DeVito should have been the mirror on the wall.
this looks hot.
Now I'm
I
good.
I oh
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I
Oh
was
no
gonna
no.
say I don't care about live action, but this is the only one I may go see if it looks good.
Okay, okay, yeah. So I know some people are like, "Oh my god, they massacred Stitch." I'm like, "This looks pretty good, actually."
That's about as good as it's gonna look. So
Yeah.
yeah, it could be a lot worse. It'll
That
depend on
is
how the Hawaii looks in Lilo, and yeah, he looks fine.
La Crista!
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of fun.
So that one's maybe. I never saw Incredibles 2, so this did nothing
Oh.
for me.
I saw Incredibles 2, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And this oh my god.
I'm
Yeah,
not the biggest Incredibles fan, but I'm glad they got Brad Bird back. Like I would hate if someone else did it. Like it'd be like Toy Story without John Lasseter. Who would do
uh,
that? So
uh, Incredibles 2 had Brad Bird and it sucked.
yeah,
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and make a call right now. Uh, I think Syndrome's coming back. I think they're gonna find a way to get him back.
yeah, I could see that, or like a computer version of him or hologram
Yeah,
or something. Yeah,
yeah.
or maybe he's like a Doctor Doom type character.
Oh,
Can you play this teaser for us? This is the
where
worst. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
you said it's a Doctor Doom thing. What if they get Robert Downey Jr. to play
Yeah,
Syndrome?
yeah. This is the worst teaser I've ever seen. Laziest teaser. Yeah, mute just turn off the music. We don't need the music because
Yeah.
they don't say anything.
Okay.
Yeah, here's your teaser to get you excited for Toy Story 5. And there you go. Toy Story 5's coming out.
So here's the interesting thing. You want to know how lazy this is? So I've never seen Toy Story 4.
4, yeah.
But I know for a fact that Woody does not have his badge anymore. He gave it to Jesse.
Yeah, so this is probably just this is probably some type of demo reel from like Toy Story 3 or something that they just slapped.
I mean, that's the thing is these like Toy Story 3 came out and it looks really good, and then none of them look substantially better.
Yeah. And Toy Story 3 is the perfect ending to the story.
Oh yeah.
I never bothered with Toy Story 4 because
Well, and I'll give them that like Toy Story 4 is interesting because what is a toy?
yeah.
I get that. But Toy Story 5 I'm just like, oh, I don't have any interest in that one because apparently it's toys versus tablets.
Yeah.
That's like old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah.
Um,
So I wonder if like they'll be talking to the characters in the iPad, like the characters will come alive on the iPad when the kids aren't around.
and like Super Mario appears or
Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, it's like, oh, we
oh man, if it was Wreck-It Ralph, that might actually be kind of cool. But not cool enough for me to actually like I not cool as an idea, but cool as in like, oh my gosh, there's some there's some continuity in these things apparently.
Yeah.
Um, so they announced Frozen 4.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know what you're thinking. What about Frozen 3? They announced that one too.
Yeah. It's gonna be a two-part story.
I'm getting sick of these, and I hate. Uh, who started it? Was it Twilight or was it Harry Potter that started the two-part
I
stories?
want to say, was it Twilight? Or no, it must have been. Well, maybe Harry Potter came out before Twilight. I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't like these two-parter things
Yeah.
because the first one always sucks. Except for Infinity War, the second one is the weak one out of those. Uh,
Yeah.
okay,
Uh,
this one I'm down with. Zootopia 2. I love the first Zootopia. Zootopia 2 is I'm on board with it just because I like Zootopia.
yeah, Zootopia's okay. Again, it's fine. My kids are bigger fans than I am, but yeah. Um,
I think Zootopia is as far as you can go as a fan without being considered a furry.
you go
Um,
right up to the edge, and
all right, let's see. Oh yeah, short round is gonna be a snake named Gary. Um, dog, he's everywhere now. I love it.
yeah, yeah. Someone said the other day it's a shame that he didn't get his resurgence like 5 years ago, so he would have been in Indiana Jones. If they missed that window by
Yeah,
just barely. So, um, yeah. Again, though, another sequel, which is most of
yeah,
his list.
yeah.
So,
We knew about this. I am actually, for the most part, down with Goonies in space. I think this looks interesting, and I think the fact that like they're just straight up telling you that the main characters are the children for Skeleton Crew, you have no excuse to you know what you're getting into if the main characters are children from the very beginning, you know?
yeah, there's things in the trailer that are very weird. Um, like, how do you feel about like suburban Star Wars?
You know what? I actually don't mind it because I'm sure, and believe me, it was definitely jarring, but I'm like, of course there would be at some point. Uh, like, and even then, like, it doesn't look too jarring because the architecture is still very Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of took me out, but then as the trailer went, it got better. It it doesn't feel. If this didn't have the name Star Wars on it, I'd be more down. If that makes sense. Um,
I think the thing that's the most interesting, and it's the reason that I like the fact that the kids are the main characters, is it has the surprise and wonderment that Star Wars was. Like with Jude Law using the Force, and the kids are like, oh, you know.
yeah, I could see that. Um,
But yeah, I'm pretty down with this.
my other complaint is, and I was talking to Jonathan about this. Um, it feels like, where did this Jedi come from? Did he just survive the Jedi purge, or it's like every time we turn around, there's another Jedi who
Yeah,
survived the purge, and
yeah.
just
Well, I mean, and that's been an issue. That's not even a Disney issue, honestly.
yeah,
That is a Star Wars issue because that was that way all the way back in uh the
extended
Oh,
universe back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah. I was trying to think of like who published the books, but yeah, in general, like the one who wanted the kids in the Thrawn trilogy, like he just has been hiding in a cave for 20
Oh,
years.
Sabath or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think he was a clone, right? But
yeah,
still, um, and I think that was kind of their way to get around that he was an actual Jedi. It's, oh, it's just a clone of a Jedi. But yeah. So it's Ahsoka and Kanan and it's just every time you turn around, here's another one we found that survived the purge, and you're like, okay, enough.
one thing that I would actually love for this to be is if this guy is let's see what's his name, Jod Na Wood. Yeah, that's a Star Wars name. Uh,
What? Jod, no, I would.
yeah, it's stupid.
Jod? Yeah?
It's
No, no, I wouldn't.
it's
His name is yeah? No, no, I wouldn't.
uh but if this guy's like a Corin Horn or a Kyle Katarn, like if maybe he wasn't a Jedi from from the Republic, like maybe he like was taught by Cal Kestis or Luke Skywalker, or like he was an adult who was taught to use his Force powers. Because really, all we see in this is he lifts up a key.
Yeah, so he may not. I mean, they think he's a Jedi, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's
Yeah,
just oh,
I mean that would be that. That might be the twist, that it turns out that he's like they think he's a Jedi who's come to save them, and it turns out that he's just some guy.
yeah. I think that's more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I might be tempted to watch this one. I'll wait and see what kind of reactions this gets for more trailers. So
Yeah. I think this will get some pretty good reactions, like because uh like you know who's doing this one, right?
I've forgotten, but I knew at one point.
John Watts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is badly needed family entertainment, and Star Wars needs that again, unless they put
yeah.
something stupid and controversial in it, which knowing Disney they may. But I feel like they're trying to get away from that. I felt like a lot of this D23 was them trying to win people back, saying, "Oh, here's the stuff you like. Won't you come back? Come back to our parks, please. Come back to the theaters, please." Although they've had a good summer with Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, but
Yeah.
both of those are, I mean, other than Deadpool being rated R, both pretty controversial free for the most part. Um, so yeah, what's next? Um,
Yep.
yeah, okay. I mean, this is supposed to be a musical, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I love Catherine Hahn and I love this character, but like I didn't need another one.
No, it doesn't need a show. It'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, you really liked Michelle in Spider-Man movies. Well, here's Michelle the show, and it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of the clips of Fantastic Four. If they showed any, I don't know. I'm excited for this. I think this will be good. And I put an asterisk by it because Marvel puts asterisk by things also. Um, but I have a lot of hope that this will be pretty good. We just got to get through the next couple of movies before we get there.
I have a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've like barely started filming at this point, right? Like they may have just started filming or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and call that this gets delayed.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure most of the special effects are either in process or done, or um, I think because was this come out in July or something?
Yeah.
I think they got time.
Then I will put this out there. If this doesn't get delayed, this is gonna suck.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll
Uh,
see.
here's the thing. I think that they learned a lot from Deadpool and Wolverine. I do not think that a year is enough time for them to implement those lessons.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's.
I think that this either takes Blade's spot as the 2026 film, or if Blade actually comes out, then the lessons will be implemented there.
Okay. Well,
It
we'll see.
I don't think that we get a good Marvel project next year, except for Daredevil, and even then, I'm scared about that too.
Okay. Well, yeah. I don't want to turn this into a big Marvel discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, it's not like we're talking Deadpool and Wolverine.
yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh, Daredevil Born Again. The footage did leak online. We'll not show it here, but I looked pretty good to me. I guess it made me want to go back and finish the Netflix Daredevil that I never finished. So, um, yeah, we'll see. It looks like they're adapting some of the Bendis stuff
Mhm.
with.
It's some of the Bendis stuff and some of the Charles Soule stuff because it looks like that the main villain is Muse, who is a serial killer who uses their victims' bodies as canvases for artwork.
Um, I agree, Jonathan, but I think what they're doing, and I've been meaning to do a video on this forever about the female Silver Surfer controversy. I think the plan is we're going to see female Silver Surfer, and their whole planet's going to get destroyed just to show how scary Galactus is. And then the Fantastic Four will escape to our world, and then in the 616 universe, it will be Norrin Rad. It'll be a different, like maybe that's the difference is that it was Norrin Rad instead of Shalabal or whatever. So,
My only thing with that, though,
mhm.
is that they've confirmed that Galactus doesn't have any variants. Like in the multiverse, Galactus is special,
Uh-huh.
and so I would assume he would bring his heralds with him.
Which is weird. Well, he goes through heralds constantly.
Yeah.
They don't stay heralds very long, uh, which is weird because the ultimate Galactus was different? Question
Yep.
mark. So
Kind of. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that they've. Okay, here's the thing. They're talking about how the movie's going to be in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and I'm like, that better not be the whole movie. I'm not sitting in a dark room watching a 4:3 movie. like like that is
It's weird.
there are things that are conceptually like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? And then like 2 seconds later, oh, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
kind of like
my
kind of like the white and blue costumes. Oh, did I say that?
one of the things that annoys me, if we're talking about stuff that annoys us about the MCU and their decisions, is calling the MCU the 616 universe.
Yeah,
That drives us crazy because the comic books are the 616 universe. So
yeah. This is Earth -100000009 or something like that.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like this looks good if they. At this point, my only thing is like you're calling it Born Again just to get clicks. Like this has nothing to do with Born Again, um, because season 3 was Born Again. Um, I would have rather them call it like Daredevil Underboss or Daredevil Out or Daredevil. Maybe not Blind Spot. Just something that's more representative of the stories that they're adapting, instead of just taking the name of the most popular Daredevil story. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, this looks pretty good. I'm more or less just scared because of the hellish uh,
Behind the scenes, there was a lot
behind.
of changes
Yeah,
and reshoots and weird comments and plot changes. And yeah, yeah. All right. Avatar 3 was announced. I mean, we knew this was coming,
yeah.
but I didn't think we knew it was coming this soon. December 19th, 2025.
I mean, we should have though because they
Yeah.
filmed 2 and 3 at the same time.
Hmm.
So I even I'm surprised, but I don't know why we are because they
Yeah.
filmed them at the same time.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, they really should be filming four at this point. But
Yeah. But yeah, so this is Fire and Ash, and then the fourth one, because we've dealt with, grass and earth, and then we did water and fire. So the fourth one will be called Avatar: The Last Airbender.
hmm
Um,
now,
so we're going to be dealing with the Fire Nation here. I make fun of it, but I love every Avatar movie. I'm super excited for this.
yeah,
I'm I accept that I'm the only Avatar fan. Honestly, I think other people just go see it because they're
pretty.
supposed. Yeah, but I actually like the world. um, is
Yeah,
that
it's
is that is that Lindsay Lohan?
yeah, she's back, and Jamie Lee Curtis are back. Yeah, they're all
Cool,
back.
cool, cool.
You
Uh,
know, people bash her. You know what? I like a good comeback story. If she's
yeah,
got her life in order, good for her. Let's,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, no, I'm not surprised. I couldn't tell if that was Lindsay Lohan or not just from the
yeah,
picture.
yeah, she's back.
Uh, for me, it's just more like, why are we doing Freaky Friday too?
Well, that, but also, I mean, these are type of movies Disney used to be known for. These,
Yeah.
family films. So, hey, more power to you if you just go back to these fun little family movies.
Let's rock. We got Tron Ares. I'm so excited for this. Um, and the thing that, like, first of all, Jeff Bridges is back. We got Evan Peters, Greta Lee. Ares is played by Jared Leto, who he gets a lot of deserved hate. Check. But I think when Jared Leto's good, he's really good. It just happens to be when Jared Leto's bad, he's really bad. so,
Hmm.
so, so this will be a coin toss. But we get Nine Inch Nails doing the soundtrack, which is awesome. I'm so
Interesting choice. Okay.
I'm so excited. Well, I mean, like that. So for Tron Legacy, they got Daft Punk, which makes more sense. Honestly, I think the fact that they got Nine Inch Nails to do this, that should tell you what the tone of the film is going to be, and especially with the logo being like black and red, this is definitely going to be like. It's not going to be like Warhammer grimdark, but it's going to be like the most grimdark that Disney's ever been.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm
So
hoping. Maybe one day I'll watch the second Tron movie. We'll see. Maybe when this one.
put it on the list.
Yeah, yeah, I know you are.
But no, no, no. Here's the thing. I'm a big fan of the Tron universe. I love the games, like the evolution. I love Have you ever seen the show?
No.
Put it on the list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but no. I mean, hot take. I actually like Tron Legacy more than the original. Um, so I'm a big fan of this universe, of this franchise, and whenever they did Tomorrowland, which killed Tron, and then they got Star Wars, that which kind of buried Tron even further down. The fact that we're getting this at all is just, I love it. So,
Okay.
uh,
We're going a little long, so let's see
yeah,
if we go a little faster here. Monster Jam,
yep,
Monster Trucks, Win
yep.
Lose. This is a Pixar baseball movie they've been delaying for a while. I believe it's baseball softball team. Okay. Will Forte is fun. So yeah.
Oh,
Oh, this
okay, okay.
oh this is a TV series. It's not a movie. TV series. Okay.
This one I'm excited about. So, Dream Productions. Uh, about the Dream Factory Insider, I said I think this would be hilarious if this is like a kid's version of 30 Rock, where like they're constantly getting ready for Riley to go to sleep and like, okay, we got to come up with something
Oh,
good.
like a like a Saturday Live or something.
Yeah,
So I get
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Uh, and oh man, it's something that looks original. Um,
Yeah, Elio with Zoe Saldana.
uh, I mean, I didn't really look into this. Okay, so this is what I'm curious about because you didn't. This is Hoppers. I'm not going to look at it.
Okay. So look at the you can look at the picture. Scroll down, look at the picture. Okay.
What?
This is about a a young girl who can hop into the minds of beavers.
Wait. Okay. Question: Is it that specific, or is that just the way the plot goes?
That was the plot I saw someone post on Twitter. I don't know what they actually said. Let's see what the oh, it's a robot beaver. Okay. It's still so bizarre.
So, white beavers. You are setting yourself up
For
for
jokes. Yeah.
for so many jokes about being inside beavers. Okay,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
John Hamm inside a beaver, also known as the sex scenes in Mad Men. Oh man. Oh, by
Oh.
the way, so Mufasa, the Lion King. I hate this. They're implying that Mufasa was not the rightful heir, but it was actually Scar,
Yeah.
and so they're making Scar an understandable villain.
Yeah. When I first saw the trailer, I missed that they said that. And I was like, oh, they're taking Scar to their tribe. Cool. And then when I watched it, I was like, wait, that's Mufasa. Wait, this makes no sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't want to be going, oh yeah, I guess Scar had a point. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
join the I can't say that word on YouTube, the the German lion cult. Yeah.
No. I mean, here's the thing. I always thought Scar was one of the dopest villains because he was just a villain, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's nothing redeemable about him. He's just
yeah.
evil. He's very Shakespearean evil character.
Yeah. Shakespearean. That's a good word for it. Ironheart. I don't care.
Yep.
Yeah. Andor. Let's go. We have. They have. I didn't expect Ben Mendelsohn and Alan Tudyk to actually like. Alan Tudyk. I did expect.
Mhm.
But Ben Mendelsohn as Krennic. I mean, if say what you will about Disney's Star Wars, but Krennic's one of like their best villains that they've come
Is
out
he
with.
the bad guy from Rogue One?
Yes.
Okay. You can tell I've only seen Rogue One once. So
No, and keep in mind, I'm not a big fan of Rogue One. I have my problems with it. Definitely, I
mhm.
think it's a very boring movie. But Orson Krennic is like he's the villain who's like he thinks he's a big fish in the ocean. Like he thinks he's bigger than he actually is, and then Darth Vader comes in and just kind of been like sits him down and is like, no, you are a small fish. Sit down.
Mhm.
Uh, so be very interesting. Mandalorian and Grogu. I if John Favreau gets to do his thing, this is going to be great. You know.
Yeah. I saw the footage. Footage wasn't much to write home about, but they had just literally started filming like a week ago, so I wasn't expecting much. Yeah, so we'll wait and see, but this will be in 2026. So
And it'll
without
be in
wasting.
theaters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this will be. At least I hope this will be in theaters.
Yeah, it better be. Yeah.
But yeah, the Razor Crest ship is back. Which I still think that whole thing played out hilariously, where they had people fund the Razor Crest and then they destroyed it in the show like the next week. Like it's so funny. And then Zeb from Rebels, I love Zeb.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Percy Jack. So yeah, as it turns out, for those who care, uh, it looks like this is going to be a 5-season show, and each season is going to be based off of a book because this is definitely Sea of Monsters.
Never read them. So
Yeah.
all right. That's all they had listed. I thought there was something else, but I guess that was it.
No, I mean,
Um,
no. I mean, like as Elio and Hoppers were like the two original things that I counted.
yeah. So that
No,
was D23.
very like I said, I'm very disappointing. Honestly, like there's some things that like we know things are we. I think they kind of prematurely shot their wad, as it were, at SDCC.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I feel like they're trying to win people back with here's stuff that we know is safe that people like. Let's not do anything controversial for a couple years, get that taste out of people's mouth, and try to win some families back. Because
I it
oh,
sucked. It
that's what I
sucked.
forgot. Yeah, there's Red Hulk footage.
It sucked.
Yeah, yeah.
It
I had
sucked.
originally said, put Green Hulk and Red Hulk on a poster, them fighting, and you sell tickets. But if that's the Red Hulk, it's just kind of like, okay. The Red Hulk on Venture Brothers was more satisfying than, than this one. Um, all right, so this is your last warning. We are going into full spoilers now about Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you have not seen it, I'm sorry, but even Disney's spoiling it at this point. They're putting cameos in all the trailers and
I
stuff.
mean, they spoiled it though. There were things that I saw like at SDCC. They spoiled it the day it came out.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
So
so pissed.
yeah, I mean, they literally have a trailer now of Johnny Storm. So it's here we go. So we're gonna be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Here we go. Um, I really enjoyed this film. I said it was probably about 3.5 or 4 out of 5, somewhere around there. Uh, Caleb finally saw it last Tuesday. Caleb, what's your just real quick initial impressions of what you thought it was?
I think this is pretty good. I definitely think that this is like um the third best film that they've come out with post Endgame, because I definitely think that No Way Home and Guardians 3 are better. Um, but watching this, you can definitely see that they took so many cues from No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and overall, I really did like it. Um, I think it was really funny. And I was concerned that they were gonna, be like, oh man, what about Logan, right? Logan was supposed to be the end, and they shut me up real quick about that. I'll be honest. uh,
Yeah, that opening scene, they pretty much come out
yeah,
and say, "Yeah, we know we're gonna desecrate Logan's grave. Here we go."
yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is they still, I mean, like they didn't desecrate the memory; they just literally desecrated the grave, and it was really funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
It's one of the
here,
better opening sequences. You know.
this I agree with. This is not an MCU movie. This is the final Fox Studios movie. You
Hmm.
can you can take out the MCU stuff completely, and it doesn't change the movie at all.
Yeah, what did you think of the Happy Hogan scene?
I am indifferent about it.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
just very surprised to see it there, and I was also very confused until I realized that he could jump dimensions with his time travel thingy. I
yeah.
was like, wait, what is this? What is happening?
No, I mean, like you. So here's the thing: is the reason I'm indifferent about it is because like you gotta. This is a Deadpool movie.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to make sense. I didn't even question why he was able to jump through different universes,
Hmm.
at that point. Because this is a Deadpool movie, just don't worry about it.
So, one of the big plot points is him breaking up with Vanessa. How'd you feel about that?
Uh, Ironically, it's like the most realistic thing that a Deadpool movie can do because, um, and I can say this as a 27-year-old, uh, that as far as relationships go, there was a point where there were um, attraction was physical and I'm not necessarily what's the word, not necessarily shallow, because I mean like he looks like a testicle,
Hmm.
um but I mean like even when as a 27-year-old on like these dating apps and whatnot, the most attractive thing to me is ambition. And I know what I want in life, and I need someone who knows what they want in life.
Hmm.
And so Vanessa breaking up with Deadpool for not having really any ambition is how I took it. I
Hmm.
think is very realistic in my head.
Yeah, and I also felt like she was trying to give him a kick in the pants to get their
Right,
life
right,
together,
right,
and
right.
he didn't take the cue.
Yeah, well,
Like,
and it's not just that. I didn't take it as she broke up with him. He
yeah,
definitely broke up with her. I mean, like that scene where he's like, "Just tell me you don't want to be with me," and then she said, I can't remember if she said, "I don't want to be with you," but I mean, like he
it's
pushed her to that
we're
point.
not 100% sure because Cassandra Nova was
Yeah,
playing strings in that scene of what
right.
she actually said. So, yeah, it's I I like I've said before. I wish. I mean, now that I've seen this one, I'm okay with it. But
Yeah, that's
no,
where I'm at.
I would have left Vanessa dead because I think Deadpool works better when he's not in a happy relationship. He needs to be down on his luck. Um, yeah. So we're just gonna kind of jump around a little bit in the plot. We get the TVA here. Having just read the Joe Kelly stuff, they still remind me of Luckman Landau and Lake.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I don't know if you got that. And we'll
no,
talk about more
definitely.
about this when we get to the Joe Kelly stuff. But I mean, he's the Paradox character is definitely over Boss Dixon from the
Mhm.
comics.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I still kind of don't get the TVA. I want to see if you get it at all. Um, is Paradox like does the TVA have variants? Because it feels like Paradox, OB, and Mobius are all variants of each other. Is that what you're getting?
I didn't watch Loki season 2, so I don't know what
Oh,
else they
okay.
established there. But uh, I, yeah, the TVA is strange, and time travel in general of Marvel is strange. It depends on which show or movie you're watching. They seem to have different explanations for how it works. Um, so yeah, the TVA says
Yeah.
he's a hero that they want to bring him to the MCU, but they never explain why. And and
Um.
and other
So
than Thor crying, holding Deadpool's body.
so here's the thing. A lot of stuff in this. I'm gonna go ahead and say this movie is not going to age well. Okay. Um. I love this movie now. This movie will not age well because of the. Um, I'm trying to think of a way to put this. The reason that the TVA wants to bring him into the MCU is a reference to um,
A plot no longer going forward.
well, no, not necessarily. No, it's more of a reference to Disney wants to put Deadpool in the MCU. Like
Hmm.
the TVA is Disney in this
Hmm.
aspect.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
yeah, the higher ups that they keep referring to, yeah, that's
yeah.
Disney. They are.
So they want to bring Deadpool into the MCU because Deadpool is a successful, proven franchise and successful, proven character, and so they don't explain why, but uh, oh, buddy, I'm about to tear this apart. Because the anchor being thing only works in this, and if they keep up with the anchor being, it's so stupid. Um, I'm about to tear that apart, buddy. So, but yeah, I think here's the thing: the majority of this movie works if you accept the fact that the TVA is Disney in its
Mhm.
current state, and that's why this won't age well because it only works if you watch it now.
Yeah, well, yeah, like
Yeah.
if you discover this movie 20 years from now, you've never seen any of the other movies, and you're just like, huh. I mean, I think it's still a funny movie,
Oh
but
no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm saying that like you're like right now your complaint of I don't know why they want him. That
Mhm.
complaint is not valid now, but it will be valid in 20 years.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure this
yeah.
will pay off later. Um, yeah,
Um,
It's this movie like it's very inside baseball what the the
yeah.
plot is about. Disney, and it'll fly over a lot of the
Yeah.
audience's head though, who's not even paying attention.
Do you,
So
I mean, speaking of, do you want me to tear apart the anchor being
go
thing
ahead,
now?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, okay. So the funniest joke in this movie, nobody gets it. Okay, because it's the
Hmm.
idea of the anchor being. The anchor being is a joke, and everyone is trying to figure out, oh, who. Here's the thing, I'm going to say 616 because that's what everyone
They
keeps saying.
saw it. Yeah.
I know that it is 1000009, but I'm just going to say 616 because that's what everyone else is saying.
Mhm.
So everyone's like, oh man, who's the anchor being of the 616? Blah, 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 all this. And I'm like, you guys really don't get the joke, do you? Because the whole joke is that an anchor being uh, dies, and then their
Mhm.
timeline slowly
Is
fades
it Robert
away.
Downey Jr. that since he has died, the timeline's dying?
Be, Ever since Robert Downey Jr. stopped being in these movies,
Yeah.
the movies suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
I kind of
joke. That's the
yeah.
joke, and nobody gets it.
Yeah, I kind of got that. That there's definitely jokes throughout the movie where they're taking digs at the MCU, and
Well,
yeah,
and
so I think that
I think they're taking so many digs at the MCU that even Kevin Feige, because I don't think Kevin Feige gets that joke
no,
because like if they continue to move forward with the anchor being idea into Doomsday and Secret Wars, then Kevin Feige didn't get that he was being insulted.
well, I think we talked about before that there's insults in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 directed towards Kevin Feige that he
Oh yeah,
probably missed about the High Evolutionary.
yeah.
Um, uh,
But yeah, I say all that to say that if they do continue with the anchor being idea, because here's the thing: if you take the anchor being idea at face value, it's really stupid because people die all the freaking time, um, and like it just doesn't make sense if you actually break it down. But it works in a Deadpool movie because this is a comedy and it's not supposed to make sense. But if you put it in something like Secret Wars or Doomsday, I can eviscerate the idea of an anchor being because I'm supposed to take it seriously, but I can't because it's stupid.
what did you think about the villains in this movie?
I really liked it actually. I think that it was good that so Paradox in my mind Paradox is the main villain, and then Cassandra Nova is more of like a you know what, it really reminded me of Stryker and Magneto in
Hmm.
um, in X2, where Stryker slash Paradox is kind of the main villain, and then Magneto slash Cassandra Nova takes advantage at the end. In fact, it's if you think about it, this is actually the same plot as X2.
Hmm.
Like you put these side by side, um, and they're going to use this time whatever thing, time ripper, which is kind of like the Cerebro from X2,
Hmm.
where they're going to like, oh, we're going to destroy all the mutants, and then uh, Magneto changes it and like we're going to destroy all the humans, and that's kind of what the time ripper is whenever Cassandra Nova gets a hold of it. Where
Hmm.
she's going to destroy everything and make sure that everything goes to the void, and then she will rule everything because she rules the void.
Yeah, I really like Cassandra Nova. I mean they kept pretty faithful to her comic story, but also didn't go too deep into it. Kind of like here's the
Mhm.
deal if you care, but um,
Also, I don't care if she is our Charles's sister because I don't think it matters.
oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, they also had a lot of I say nameless. They weren't nameless villains, but just kind of like the henchmen everywhere. And that's been a tradition in all the X-Men movies. There's just all
Yeah,
these just random mutants just everywhere. And so I think there was kind of a tongue in
yeah.
cheek, like here it is again. Here's all these random mutants, although many of them we recognize.
Well, you know what's
Probably the most shocking one was the Russian from the Punisher movie.
so oh, you go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even though they did recast many of these characters,
Yeah.
it was just funny that they brought him in there.
So for me, um, I think the funniest thing was like if you're gonna take one character from the X-Men movies and make them like the main henchman, Pyro's a funny choice.
Yeah,
In fact, I don't even think they name him. Like, I know he's Pyro, but I don't think they say Pyro. I don't think they say John. I don't think they ever use his name.
and it's interesting. It's an interesting choice because he was kind of. I mean, he wasn't the main focus, but he was a focus in the first two X-Men movies. I don't know if he was in part three. I can't remember.
No, 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 no. You got it reversed. He was a main focus in 2 and 3. He was not in. I think he was in the first one for
Yeah,
like
he's in the
one
first
scene.
one
For
where
the
she
for
went.
one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, he is he in X2 he represents the one who is tempted over to the Brotherhood of Mutants because he is better.
Hmm.
And then X3 kind of like he is kind of Magneto's right hand man at that point.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think Pyro was a good choice. We had Toad and Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike.
Oh, I love the Sabretooth fight.
We had
Uh,
Juggernaut Light, not Vinny Jones, but
yeah. I like the fact
uh,
that they still use that Juggernaut though, because we have multiple types of Juggernauts at this point. I'm glad they went with that
none of
costume.
them have the powers of the comic books. None of them. It's
um,
weird, but
I also
um,
like that the helmet is finally like a reason. Like the helmet is like an actual plot point now.
yeah, that was fun. Um, let's see what else I'm gonna bring. Oh, the fight scenes. I thought every Wolverine Deadpool fight scene was glorious. They were all
Oh
great.
yeah, oh yeah. Every single fight scene. Every single fight scene.
Just brutal. The car
Uh,
fight is brutal,
well,
and it
so,
has a lot of heart right before that scene where they're just kind of pouring their hearts out to each other. Then
so
just
so the car fight scene. That's another joke that people aren't understanding. Um, because if you break it down, the car fight scene is the car fight scene is a sex scene. like like that's what it is. Like that's this movie doesn't have a sex scene, but it's that car fight scene. Like even then at the end of it, whenever like they're
yeah, it's like the cigarette scene afterwards where they're both
yeah
laying there.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like it's
Um,
so funny.
all right, let's move on to cameos. I thought we were going to get more, but at the end of the day, this is kind of the perfect number.
Yeah.
Like we did get inundated with. I thought we would see way more X-Men. I thought more Fantastic Four, maybe multiple versions of the Fantastic Four. And I think this is a good selection. They did say they wanted Robert Downey Jr. Then plans changed when the other Robert Downey Jr. plans happened. Uh, I think Blade was just awesome in this. It was a great choice.
Oh man, that
Um,
here's the thing. I can break these down one character at a time.
uh-huh.
Blade is gonna age really well
Yeah,
because there's only one Blade, and then he looks at the screen. That works for two reasons. Either
there is
the
just
Blade,
one Blade. They never make it, or they do.
I, either Blade comes out or it doesn't. Either way, it's a funny joke. And here's the thing: they don't make none of these characters, in my opinion, are gag characters. These are all four of them are genuine characters, right?
Hmm.
They have their and like the fight scene, dare I say, was badass with all
Hmm.
four of them, and like they treated these characters with so much respect. and I loved that. You know.
with an asterisk. I mean, they did give Gambit's voice a hard time, but yeah, yes, they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even then, Gambit's voice, it reminds me of Joe Manganiello was talking with Fox about doing a How I Met Your Mother spinoff. No, not Fox, CBS, about doing a How I Met Your Mother spinoff about him in his hometown of Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And so they're like, "Well, give us your Pittsburgh accent," and he does, and it's completely ridiculous because the Pittsburgh accent is ridiculous. They're like, "No, no, 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 do like an actual one, not like a joke one." He's like, "This isn't a joke." If we're talking about a Cajun accent, it's
Yeah.
as someone as someone who has spent a lot of time in New Orleans on vacation and whatnot, Channing Tatum's pretty spot on. I you know I do love. I think everything that Gambit does is hilarious. Like I think so. I have my favorite line, and then I have my favorite joke because my favorite line is actually not a joke. And we'll get to that whenever we get to Laura.
Mhm.
But my favorite comedy line, I mean, it's gotta be. Well, I didn't know my daddy, but I'm pretty sure I came out of it dick ready. Yeah, what? It's like all up in it buttery. It's like, oh, Johnny must have loved you.
So we'll go ahead and mention Johnny. He's not in this picture. There's a misdirect, the
Yeah,
Captain America
I mean,
misdirect.
if we're talking about who's a gag character, it's Johnny.
Yeah.
Which you know what's hilarious is at the oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I here's the thing, and I even then I still think that that is a respectable way to mention the fact that his film never got made. um so like I said, I think they showed more respect to these four characters than the MCU shown to a lot of its characters post Endgame.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, they were. Yeah. I mean, was Gambit sort of a joke? Sure, but yeah, they were. I mean, his
I s-
powers were awesome in this
yeah.
movie.
Oh man. They even did the like he stabbed the guy with his kinetic staff and then he blew up and um I also like the fact that they knew their fate was like, oh, I'm gonna make a name for myself today, and then Logan's like, I don't think you guys come out of this. He's like, you just make sure everybody knows what happened here. Like it was about getting their ending, and it was great. Um,
Hmm.
I think I think Electra was great. Um, and my favorite thing is that like so Jennifer Gardner actually does that, right? Like that's not she practices with Psy and like there are videos on her Instagram of her like
Hmm.
practicing like she actually does this stuff. It's awesome.
Hmm.
Um and then I mean like let's talk about that line. Daredevil, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I mean that's a that's a great line.
Hmm.
Um, and then my favorite line in the whole movie, which is where the heart of the movie really is. I think it's fitting that the heart of this movie is like even if it's just a little snippet, it's still Logan and Laura, right?
Hmm.
And so at the fire, at the campfire, she's talking. I got to live because of you. I got to grow up because of you. I got to have friends because of you. A lot of kids did. Uh, and he says, "Listen, I'm not the right guy." And then she walks away and says, "You never were until you
Yeah.
were."
Yep.
Oh my god! Like that's the line right there. I don't.
Yeah.
How em- uh,
Let's go
how
ahead.
embarrassing
Go
is
ahead.
it that how embarrassing is it for this franchise that a comedy spoof movie has more heart than we've seen in the past 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I mean, we've talked before how Deadpool works when there is heart behind the story. This movie definitely has it.
Yeah.
Wolverine's such a tragic character. They don't show his backstory, but we find out what happened, and basically it's that berserker rage. He's always talking about, I can't go into berserker rage. This is what happens when he
Yeah.
goes into that berserker rage and he kills innocent humans. After the X-Men were lost, he just lost his mind and
Yeah.
just couldn't stop
So,
killing.
so for me, the way that I picture it is so this Wolverine had a drinking problem who didn't care about anyone but himself, even after he was brought in by Charles. Whenever he walks away and then the humans came, the way I see it is this is the Wolverine that happens if he wasn't there when Stryker attacked the mansion in X2. That's this
Oh
in
yeah.
in my head canon. This is what happens if he wasn't there when Stryker attacks the X Mansion in X2. Everyone is taken, everyone dies, all the mutants are dead, and then Wolverine, and he says it. He's like, I killed all the humans who, um, I killed all the humans who attacked, and then I kept killing. Like, I almost wish that he killed everybody on Earth. You know, you know what I mean? Though, like it seems like out there, but it's Wolverine.
Yeah,
I
it's yeah. Well, I think it would be crazy if the bar was more scared of him. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's him. He might be careful.
right. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this movie is great. I think that they do the comedy. They let it sit for as long as possible. But then they let the heart happen, which the scene where they are going to sacrifice themselves um, to stop the Time Ripper, and then his shirt rips off, and then Deadpool kind of looks and then nods at the camera because his abs are so nice. That is like a 2-second joke, and then they go back to the dramatic "we're going to sacrifice ourselves" things, you know. Um, and that is that's really what this comes down to. Um, I am of two minds about this, Jonathan. I would rather want more of the Deadpool core than be sick of them. You know, because the Deadpool core, there is a fine line, and it is so easy to overdo it. And so I would rather them underdo it than overdo it. I do like the fact that this must have been extremely um, this must have been extremely um, cathartic for Ryan Reynolds because he got to kill his wife. Um, he got to kill one of his kids.
He got to
Oh
kill Nice Pool, which was himself. He,
yeah. Oh man, have you seen that meme where it's like the best shields in the MCU, and it's like the Captain America shield, and and then it's Nice Pool. um,
regenerate
oh man,
power.
I think my favorite thing about Nice Pool is like, and they never bring attention to it. It's just annoying as an American. Is he's got Canadian pronunciations? Like he's like sorry about that. Like he says sorry in a boot. Like
He has one of my favorite jokes where he's like, "I could break the fourth wall." The proposal.
the proposal.
You
He's
think
like,
that's what I do?
you think that's all I do? Oh, it's
Oh
it's great. I also like that Peter is a gem in every universe.
yeah.
um, I I don't think there's a whole lot more that I can say about this. I've said everything seriously that I need to say about this movie, which is, um, this definitely feels like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie where, um, they will see this and they're like, oh well, we got to keep doing that, and then it gets bad.
Yeah.
uh,
Let's talk about my favorite scene in the
please, yeah.
movie. And this article's in Spanish, but the alternate Wolverine montage I
Oh
just
yeah.
love. Uh, we got Age of
We
Apocalypse
got
Jackson.
as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh man, Aaron's gonna love this.
I mean, this was Age of Apocalypse happened in high school for me, and it was such a big deal. This is so mind blowing that we actually saw this on film, even if it's for 2 seconds. If that's all I ever get of Age of Apocalypse in a movie, okay, that's fine. um, the short Wolverine joke,
Oh,
very
that's
funny.
great. That's great. You know what's funny? I wonder how many people get that joke.
I
Like,
don't think anybody gets this montage unless you're a comic book fan. There's so many comic book references.
yeah,
Uh, the scene with Patch,
yeah.
so many people thought this was going to be Harry Potter, and it wasn't.
I kind of wished it was. Well, no, no. I mean, so now that I've seen Calverine, I'm like, it's funnier if Calverine's the only one. That's a different actor. um, so did you hear about Henry Cavill's experience on this set?
No, I have not.
So, as soon as they asked him, he said yes. Like they didn't even have to convince him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I'll do it." Apparently, this is not CG. He was smoking this cigar for 8 hours straight,
Oh man.
and he's like, "I got so sick afterwards." And I'm like, "Oh my god! It took them 8 hours to film that."
Yeah, movies are crazy.
I also love the joke like, "Oh, you should stay here. We'll treat you so much better than those guys down the street."
There's a lot of chatter now that people want him to be Wolverine. I don't know. I kind of like it just as a one-off joke. I mean, he would be great as Wolverine, but yeah,
I think he's, here's the thing. I think he's too big.
I do too. Yeah, he
I
is very
I mean,
tall.
if we want to talk about it, like, get him to play Sabretooth, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, oh man, I loved Old Man Logan. I mean, like he looked like Clint Eastwood, you know?
uh
It was dope.
huh, yeah. This scene is great if you know that
John Byrne.
comic book cover with the Hulk reflecting off the claws.
It was so cool. So have you gone back and watched it? And like whenever he does his like his claws, you actually can see the reflection of Hulk.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's so cool.
yeah. Um, this scene confused a lot of the audience, but if you read the comic books, this
Yeah.
made perfect sense.
Yep.
And so a lot of people are like, "Oh, this was blasphemous." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, "Well, I mean, yes, there are a lot of references to Deadpool being a savior,
Jesus.
but yeah, this is straight out of the comic books.
I
One
mean,
of
I think one of the funnier lines is whenever you think that they've sacrificed themselves, and then they show up, and he's like, "He is risen." It's so funny. Like I
yeah,
think I don't know. I talk about this all the time. That like I think I think the true and there might be just some. I don't want to make this an entire conversation, but I think a true strong amount of faith is being able to take the jokes as they come and laugh at the funny ones. You know, like not everything has to be
yeah. There are
offensive,
lines. There are, yeah.
but
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
but I think some people are just like at every single. I'm like, come on, it's kind of funny.
yeah. So that's my favorite part, the montage. What'd you think of the Wolverine's mask?
Oh my god, I loved it.
There are some scenes where it looks weird, but for the most
What?
part, I loved it.
Well, the
Yeah,
scene where it looks weird is whenever his shirt's off. Um, that's the scene where it looks weird. But I know some people didn't like the white eyes. It took some getting used to, but I'm on board with it now.
yeah, yeah. Once I
Um,
got used to it, I was good. Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I will say at this point, I know they make the till you're 90 joke. I really hope they don't overdo it with
Hugh Jackman.
I I don't know. It's like every time I say this, but it's still true. I hope this is his last one. I know it's not gonna be, but I hope it's his
No,
last one.
I think Secret Wars will be his last one. I
Well,
think.
I hope they don't desecrate him in Secret Wars though, because like from what you sent me about the Kang Dynasty, I hate that, and I hope that they don't
So the rumor plot for Kang Dynasty was the TVA gathering several anchors together from different.
Which once again proves that Kevin Feige doesn't get the joke.
Yeah, so like Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, and I don't remember which Spider Man it was,
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, and all these characters, and then they would lose the fight with Kang, and then Battle World would be formed and lead us into Secret Wars. That was the rumored old plot. I don't know what the current plot is with Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom had a very different role um, in the most recent Secret Wars, where he's trying to save all these planets or all these different dimension timelines that are all crashing into each other. These incursions,
Mm-hmm.
and he saves everybody by making them combine into a battle world where he's the ruler, though. So I think that might be more of the plot we're going towards now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which
Uh,
makes then if they drop the whole anchor thing more confusing because they kind of set it up here. But anyhow, but we've already talked about the anchors and why it works and why it doesn't and all that.
I do think that this is going to be the last Deadpool movie. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Deadpool.
correct.
Um, it's kind of like how Iron Man 3 was the last Iron Man movie, but then he kept showing up in other projects.
Yeah, and the people are like, "Well, how is he going to show up if it's not R rated? They'll just bleep him.
Yeah,
It'll be funny. He'll just be getting bleeped constantly."
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think he'll probably most likely be in Doomsday. I would assume he'll definitely be in Secret Wars.
yeah. I
So
no, I mean like if you keep up with Ryan Reynolds and not as an actor but as a businessman, with Mint Mobile and Wrexham and all this stuff, he is very smart.
mhm.
And I think he recognizes that this is his swan song with the character as far as being the main character, you know?
Yeah, and it's on a hopeful note that Deadpool's going to get his life together, but maybe not. It's just kind of this. He's surrounded by his friends and family, and kind of realizing what's
I
important.
I do love the fact cuz like, it would have been very, comic book of them to that'd be funny.
Let him just drive with a watcher crazy,
I
please.
mean,
Thank you.
honestly, that's another possibility is like he doesn't appear as a character and he just becomes the new Stan Lee and every movie has a Deadpool cameo.
Yeah, I kind of thought they were going to do it with Howard the Duck, but yeah, Deadpool also works in
As,
that.
and on his Mint mobile phone, he's watching the latest Wrexham game.
Yeah, where he's trying to sell watcher cars the whole time. So,
um, but
the coexist bumper sticker made me
oh,
laugh
it
so
was
hard.
so good. Well, that was funny because the Coexist bumper sticker was happening during the sex scene, and um,
Uh,
but no, I definitely really enjoyed this, and um, yeah, I mean, like this is here's what I was saying. Uh, I like the fact that like it would have been a very like it still would have been decent if Wolverine just kind of went off and did his own thing. But I like the fact that not only did Wade invite him into his family, but that he took that opportunity.
yeah,
I really like that. And then having Laura at the end, um, because they're like, "Hey, these guys helped us out. Do you think that like they could come back?" Which is fun because it implies that Jennifer Gardner, Wesley Snipes, Channing Tatum, like it implies that they're all available at some point.
mhm, yeah.
Uh, how do you feel about because even Ryan Reynolds is kind of like I'm sure it's a joke in a way, but maybe it's a serious thing. How do you feel about an Old Man Blade movie?
I'd be down.
Okay,
um, I mean, again, that's you're gonna be playing this character your 90 joke, but
yeah,
uh, yeah, I mean, at this point, just cast him in the
yeah,
MCU. I mean, if the other movie can't get off the ground, just do Old Man Blade. Yeah, that'd be fun. Um,
How insane is it that Hugh Jackman has now officially lost the record and now it's Wesley Snipes again?
that's great.
It's so
I,
good.
it is because Wesley started all this, and
Yeah.
it's just great that they are giving him the
The respect he
or
deserves.
yeah, yeah. Um, all right. Lastly, the end credits. I kind of got emotional during the end credits.
Oh man.
The song choice, the clips. It was great.
There was one clip that was missing. Have you seen the have you seen the blooper where they have the guy show up in the Spider-Man costume?
I think so. It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay. That was the one clip that was missing that I thought would have been funny, but oh man, it was definitely great, and this was definitely a swan song for pre First Class Fox, you know.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was a celebration of Fox, and yeah, and it's kind
uh,
of like it's over now. That hope you had the time of your life. It
yeah.
really sums it up, and it kind of reminded me. Oh yeah, I've been watching these movies since the early 2000s.
Nin-
Yeah.
1998.
Oh, 1998. Oh, I've been watching longer than I thought. Yeah.
Oh man, ooh, I I'm 2 years older than the Blade movie.
Gosh. Oh, wow.
um, yeah, it's and then if post credit scene, that's my Chris Evans, like so we saw the trailer for Red One, in our theater,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god, this looks god awful.
Yeah.
um, and I'm like, man, Chris Evans keeps playing ever since Captain America. He keeps playing the Chris Evans character, and I'm like, we need Chris Evans as like Chris Evans is at his best when he plays the asshole, you know,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I need him to keep doing that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I will admit they did catch me with the Captain America swerve. I just forgot that. I don't know, maybe I should have seen it
Yeah.
coming that he was also Human Torch, and
Oh, I
um,
mean, I knew exactly who he was immediately, like
yeah,
because I've been wanting him to come back as Human Torch for a while.
yeah. Um, so those are just quick plot point thoughts about this. So, what would you rank it out of 5 stars?
I'd probably give it a 3.5.
Okay, yeah, it's in that. I know that sounds like a bad score. That's not a bad score. That's a great
No,
score.
no, 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 no,
I
no, no.
just there are little issues here or there, and I
Like,
it.
like, keep in mind. So I still think that Deadpool 2 is actually better than this movie technically. So like for me, the first Deadpool is a 3 stars. This is a 3.5, and Deadpool 2 is a 4 star for me.
Okay. I'd probably put this 3.5 and Deadpool 2 3.5 somewhere about the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
They're definitely different movies
They're
tonally and
they're
well.
definitely both better than the first one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um. So speaking of the first one, we're gonna switch gears now and talk about Joe Kelly's Deadpool, and we can just leave the spoiler tags up for this. Um. So we are reading. I think Joe Kelly's run lasted like
33 issues.
33 issues. So earlier in the year, maybe in last year, we read the first 12. And so now we're reading the next chunk through issue 25. We're not going to do the third part. We will talk about the third part at the end because I think there's a drop in quality, and we'll get to that. Um, there's kind of three major story arcs here.
Hmm.
But just to kind of recap real quick, Deadpool has been chosen or told by the TVA, the LL&L, Luckman Landau and Lake, that he is going to be the savior. He's going to be a hero, and so he's kind of going through this hero's journey where he's trying to figure out what does it mean to be a hero, what, and he keeps screwing everything up over and over.
Oh,
Um,
real quick, as far as the movie goes, how do you feel? And I assume we'll get more into this. How do you feel about Liefeld getting all the recognition?
uh, I mean, technically, Liefeld did the designs, but it's kind of like Bugs Bunny has many fathers. He doesn't have one. Deadpool is the same thing. And if you remove Joe Kelly from the equation, like I think Joe Kelly did get a thanks, but uh,
I don't think Deadpool gets a movie without Joe Kelly.
no, he. Here's the thing about the Deadpool series. I was reading this religiously monthly. I loved it. The sales were so low. People did not like Deadpool back then. This comic book was barely hanging on every month. I would go online and start Deadpool message boards trying to get people to read Deadpool. They just did not care about this character. But this is, I mean, really, um, the inspiration for a lot of the movies we got was the Joe Kelly run.
Yep.
Wolverine Origins was basically the plot that we'll see here in a little bit. Uh, the whole plot of Deadpool 1 is straight out of the comic books. Uh, him jumping around through time is a little bit in this also. So Deadpool 2, and then Deadpool 3 is the TVA. There's so much stuff in here. Blind Owl is really only in the Joe Kelly run. She doesn't really get featured after this.
Well, same with Weasel is like created by Joe Kelly,
Yeah.
and then um, the breaking the fourth wall is Joe Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Mark Waid did a couple limited series before Joe Kelly, and I don't remember how funny they are. It's been a while since I've read them. It was either Mark Waid or Fabian Nicera, one of the two.
I do want to bring that up. You mentioned funny. I actually think that Deadpool works better as a movie than as a comic book because whenever it comes to comedy, delivery is so important. You know?
That and the fact that I was reading so many of these issues back to back to back,
Yeah,
Deadpool never shuts up, and it
yeah,
gets old after a while. You're just
little
like,
bit,
okay,
little bit.
it's just like these huge walls of yellow word bubbles. You're like, oh, all right. Um, so we're gonna break down. We can really break this into three story beats. Drowning Man is the first one where Deadpool thinks everything's going great. He has been trying to hook up with Siren from X Force, and she finally gives into his boobs, only for you to find out, oh, it's Typhoid Mary.
Yeah.
And Deadpool kind of has like a breakdown after this, and then T Ray takes advantage of that. We will talk more about T Ray at the end because that really has more to do with the third part of Joe Kelly's run.
Is T Ray the reason that you think that there's a drop in quality, like just conceptually?
There's a very controversial story in part three. We
Okay.
will get to involving T Ray and Deadpool. Um, but
It's because of who he is or isn't?
yes,
I
uh,
figured. So here's I forgot where we were going, so I just finished it.
oh, you read all of it?
Yeah, we could talk.
Okay,
We could talk about all. I mean,
yeah,
like it's a lot, and I don't think that we'll have. We spent a lot of time on
yeah.
everything else.
So this one is kind of a Deadpool fall from grace. He kind of loses his mind. I think this is where he locks up Weasel now in the box. Um, the Deadpool in these is a little bit more of a psychopath than he is in the movies at times when he slips back into his old ways. Uh, so yeah, this is not my favorite part of these stories. I think the next two are way better. So let's go ahead and jump to Deadpool and Death and then the Ajax story. Uh, I love Deadpool and Death. It's one of my favorite stories. Um, I think it's just great. This is basically the plot of Deadpool 1.
Yeah.
Almost beat for beat. I mean, they don't have Kill Brew in the movie. Also, I think you spend more time with the other inmates in this, so you get to feel more for them.
Yep. Definitely.
Um, but yeah, the thing is that Deadpool, for whatever reason, I can't remember the explanation they give, but he can see Mistress Death, and he falls in love with her, and he can't wait to be reunited with her. But he is Kilbrew's favorite patient, so he will not let him die. And Ajax wants to kill Deadpool because Deadpool has learned that Ajax's name is Francis,
Hmm.
and Deadpool is driving him crazy.
Uh, I
Yeah, go
do have
ahead.
so question.
Hmm.
There are two. Uh, there's a DC character that's very similar to Deadpool that nobody brings up. Um, that is also immortal, but for a different reason. And I am curious as to which one you like better. Because Deadpool, the joke is that he's in love with death, but the irony is he can't die, so
Hmm.
he can never be with her, right?
Hmm.
And then Lobo um, is immortal because he died once, and neither heaven nor hell want him.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um, no, I think Lobo was definitely around before Deadpool. I want to
maybe.
say I remember hearing a lot more about Lobo. It's close. I think Lobo's first though.
Lobo is 83, and
Yeah,
Deadpool. I bet you Deadpool's like probably about the same time. Deadpool is 91. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Deadpool's definitely a child of the '90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the thing is that he finally does die. He finally kills another patient, which makes Kilbrew, decide to kill Deadpool, and he can't let go of his hatred for what Francis has done. So his healing factor kicks in. He survives, and then he realizes that, oh, I can't. Death is gone now. I can't. We can never be together. Um, they've apparently undid this at some point, which I think is stupid. But anyhow, because I really like this about the character. This is kind of strange, tragic.
Wait. What did they undo?
The can't die curse has been undone at some.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so which I think is stupid,
I
but
I
whatever.
I feel like that's like the thing that's the thing that makes Deadpool a comic book.
Yeah, it's what makes it interesting. Well, they're we didn't talk about it last week, but at Comic Con they announced that they're doing a Death of Deadpool story where his daughter becomes the new Deadpool. Anyhow, just a whole other can of worms. Um, we then have a Ajax revenge story where Ajax is alive and has gotten all kinds of cybernetic treatments, and he is hunting down Wade and Kilbrew. He's gonna take them both out.
Part of here's the thing. I love Ajax, and I love the actor who played Ajax
Uh
in
huh.
in fact, if I'm being completely honest, he was the bad guy of Rebel Moon. Horrible movie,
Uh
but
huh.
he was like the best part.
Hmm.
And so I like. But now going back to this, I'm like, I kind of wish we got the cybernetics. It would have fit.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been cool. Uh, this is very much a story that actually has a lot of Christian themes in it. When you get down to it, the ghosts of the other patients at the Deadpool, they want Wade to kill Ajax to set their spirits free, and Kilbrew wants he wants forgiveness for what he's done when he was a monster doing all these experiments on people. And when he dies at the end, his spirit is set free because he wanted forgiveness and redemption, and the other ghosts did not understand that concept. And I really like that story.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so this is one of my favorite little story arcs. I really like it. And like I said, if you like Deadpool 1, well, this is Deadpool 1. This is the story. Just Vanessa's not here, but yeah, they borrow heavily from this story arc. And, like Colossus and stuff was added, but yeah, it is heavily borrowed from this.
Well, I mean, like Colossus was, and I almost question why they used Colossus instead of Cable initially.
Hmm.
Um, because I mean, like where's Colossus at? Well, like you just take Cable. That's Colossus, and
Yeah, well, I think that they wanted to get Cable right, and who cares if you screw up Colossus? He's already
Yeah,
been screwed up before. Um, so I think that was kind of the thought. So Cable does appear in the next part leading up to Dead Reckoning. I really like that story where you get a discussion between Deadpool and Cable about what it means to be a hero, and
yeah.
uh,
I
I
mean,
just
like,
really
I
enjoy
don't
these issues.
I don't think that it was explicitly said, but I mean, like, this could possibly be where the 4 or 5 moments comes from, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it could be. I don't think they used
No, no,
that
yeah,
wording exactly, but yes.
yeah, like I said, that like they don't use the exact wording, but like that's kind of like the idea of it. Um,
Um, Leading up to Dead Reckoning is also one of my favorite stories involving Monty the Precog. Uh, Monty is this little skinless guy in a wheelchair that they use to have premonitions. The Luckman Landau and Lake do, and he thinks that life is boring because he always knows what's going to happen. And then Deadpool takes him out on a holiday to a casino with Batrock the Leaper, and I just think it's great. It's one of my favorite stories. Just a lot of fun, and they removed one of the funniest gags, for at least from the trade I was reading. It may not be in the version you read. I don't know. Um, when he kicks
I
Batrock the Leaper out,
I cannot say where I read these issues.
you have a cool uncle, as they say. They
I
lent them to you. Batrock the Leaper gets kicked out the window, and in the original version, he's falling through the letters page. And I don't know if that was in your version. That the page is just missing from the version I have. But yeah, there's he's just falling through all the letters. It's really funny. Um, they also had they used to do intros with Deadpool, and I don't remember them being in this book now that I'm thinking about it. So I don't know if that's when they were doing the tri covers where the cover would unfold and they would have the intro. I don't know. That was a '90s thing. Um, all right, let's get to Dead Reckoning real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say I was like it was kind of like cold opens in a way.
Yeah, it was like a recap page where he would tell you what's going on, and it would usually be like different characters like Siren or T Ray would show up and break down the issue for you. Um, all right, so this is Dead Reckoning, where Deadpool finds out, oh, you want me to save you? What do you want me to do? Oh, you want me to kill somebody? And he flips out. He's like, oh, all I'm good for is killing. I'm not really a hero. And we meet Tiamat, who is an alien who's been sent to stop Deadpool. And he's got his own prophecies. And this whole time, Overboss Dixon at the LL&L has been plotting for a second stringer. He wants, and the second stringer ends up being Captain America. He doesn't believe in Deadpool. He thinks that Captain America is the hero, and Overboss Dixon's doing all this horrible stuff to make his vision for the future line up. Um, and then once the Messiah shows up, you find out that the Messiah is actually a very evil thing that is just turning people into slaves, mindless slaves. And Captain America gets possessed by the Messiah, and Deadpool, uh, while wearing the alien armor, is protected from the Messiah. And so you get Deadpool versus Captain America for the fate of the world, which I think is just a lot of fun.
What was his name? Like Smetgith or something like that.
Mithras, the talking about the Mithras.
The Messiah. I thought it was
Oh,
like
I don't remember what the Messiah's name was now.
I thought it was like it didn't have any consonants in it. I know that.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I'm sorry. It didn't have any vowels. It was only consonants.
yeah. So, uh, I just remember loving this story when I was a teenager reading this. I just thought it was so cool, and yeah. So this ends, and for me, this is kind of where Joe Kelly's run really ends, because after this, he didn't know if the series was going to be canceled every other month. So the story's kind of all over the place. And
Yeah, I mean, it definitely became more like a classic uh, comic book where like you had like your single issues and two parters more than anything.
Yeah, yeah. So it comes down to this. There's a story, and I haven't read this in years. You just read it, so but basically T Ray says, "Hey, I'm the real Wade Wilson. I was married to a girl named Mercedes, and you're just a psychopath named Jack who killed my wife, left me for dead, and took my name." Is I think the gist of it, if I recall.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing: this has never fully been settled. There's been stories people where Deadpool goes, "Oh, wait, I'm the real Wade," because of this, blah 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 blah. And they've tried to retcon it here and there, but every once in a while, something official from Marvel will come out and say, "What's Deadpool's real name?" And they'll say Jack, and you're like, "Wait, what?" So I don't think even Marvel knows. And
I okay, so here's the thing. The more I read about it, the more I don't like it. Just
yeah,
reading the issues, I liked it because I thought it was funny and it was a I read it as a parody of the Clone Saga, like just a spoof. But the more I read about it, I'm like, oh, I don't think this was meant to be a spoof of the Clone Saga.
I took it as someone at Marvel said Wade Wilson is a dumb name as a parody of Slade Wilson, and we have to give him a different name. So Joe Kelly gave them an out where if they want to, they can rename the character. That's how I took it. And then they just never followed through. It's like Magneto having 3 or 4 different names. Like every couple of years, they rename him to something else. Like I think his current name is Max, which I hate. Like to me, he's
uh,
always Eric Lesnar.
so there's Eric Lensher, there's Magnus, and then Max Eisenhart.
Yeah,
Which Eric Lensher is just a better name.
it is. It's the iconic name. And oddly enough, Joe Kelly was the one who did the story where it said, "Oh, Eric's not his real name."
Yeah. I don't mind Magnus. I think Magnus is pretty cool
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't. But I think Magnus works because he doesn't have a last name with Magnus. Like he's just Magnus, and it's cool. It,
Hmm.
it's like Prince,
It's like Logan before they gave him an identity. Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And the thing about James Howlett that gets on my nerves, but side note here of Wolverine, uh, people don't realize he's actually a Logan. Howlett's not his real father.
Yeah,
So his name's really is James Logan.
yeah.
It's not James Howlett. But it seems like Marvel can't get that through their head. So anyhow, um, yeah. So I think the third part, like I said, Joe Kelly just he thought the book was going to be canceled every other month, and so finally he just left the title, and then the book went on for another 20, 30 issues. So if he had stayed on, he could have told more of the stories. Um, so I guess we'll do this. So now you've read the 3 parts. What do you think works? Like, what was your favorite parts?
Um, Honestly, I like the first 11 issues more than
Mm-hmm.
anything else. I am a I'm very weird whenever it comes to whenever it comes to media, because I like finding the status quo versus actually having the status quo, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like I I like Batman whenever he's like figuring himself out more than having the Bat family together and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the thing: I love the Bat family, and I love those as well. But from year one to Dark Victory, love all that. And so there's definitely a finding yourself in these first 11 issues, and so I definitely enjoyed that. As far as what doesn't work, I mean, we've already talked about it. Um, like initially I thought that the T-Ray stuff was funny until I found out that it's not them making fun of the Clone Saga.
Yeah, and
And I love everything with Bullseye. I think they do Bullseye really well.
mhm. um, So what you may not know is there is a since you've read part three, there is a final part
Okay.
that's not involved because they brought. Well, let me rephrase that. There's the Spider-Man Deadpool series, which deals with what happened to Weasel,
Right.
and then there's this little gems, Deadpool the End, that's by Joe Kelly, where he kind of drops hints about some of the other stories he would have done if it had not ended.
So this is because you sent me the list of what we're going to talk about. This is loose ends.
Well, there's this, and I think the biggest loose end is Blind Owl and what is going on with Blind Owl because that's never been answered. He's dropped hints in interviews and stuff. When I initially read it, and it doesn't make sense timeline wise, but I thought you would find out that Captain America and Blind Owl were Deadpool's parents. And I thought that would be this crazy twist that Captain America's son is a psychopath. Because they set up that there was a relationship during the war between Blind Owl and Captain America, but
I
it would make Deadpool too old.
so here's the thing, and I will go ahead and say this. The, there there's got to be like because you read this as it was coming out in
Uh huh.
'97, right?
Yep.
This has got to be because as I'm reading this, I didn't think that there were any loose ends to tie up with Blind Owl or Captain America. But I guess it's because we're almost
This is 30 years later
yeah
almost.
we're almost 30 years later, and so like I don't have that perspective. So like this, I'm gonna let you take point on this because
To me, I'm still
this
waiting for these answers. I'm like, okay,
this
I'm
is
still,
fascinating.
I am still, well, here's the thing. All throughout the series, Blind Owl keeps saying, I'm sorry, Wade, for something I did. And she never says what. Um,
You know what I did? I definitely expect. I remember that. I expected that to be like a joke as well. You know what? I think that my problem is like I expected this to be even more jokey than it actually was. Like I thought that she was gonna like
yeah.
spill something on the coffee table or something.
No, well, yeah. And from what I've gathered and what, if you kind of read between the lines, it's alluded to that, well, here's something that, let me rewind. Joe Kelly has said that Blind Owl was part of the Black Widow program during the war, and that she is one of the original Black Widows.
Okay.
And we don't know how she lost her sight, but something happened that may or may not have caused Deadpool to get cancer. And so she's the reason that Wade became Deadpool, and Deadpool doesn't know that. I don't know what
Okay.
that means exactly, but that is those are the strongest online theories out there is that she, like it's alluded to in the -1 issue,
Right.
but we don't know exactly what that means. And if you read Blind Owl's dialogue with that in mind, it kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, she's paying for something she did. It was probably something with the cancer, but we don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever get answers. I mean, Joe Kelly, every once in a while will tell a Deadpool story. Never say never because, like the original Hobgoblin story finally got told 30 years later or whatever, so they could tell these stories, but also I don't know if enough people are demanding answers still because so few people read this original run. Um, Fun fact: the original plan for the Deadpool series was at the end of Onslaught. You know how the Heroes Reborn they go into the Heroes Reborn universe,
Yeah.
and like it's a little globe that Franklin Richards has that they're
Uh-huh.
trapped in. Was that Deadpool was going to steal that globe, and everybody was going to be after him, and he was just going to be running around with this globe full of the trapped heroes.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I mean, like, just imagine, like, if Saint Elsewhere ends with, I'm trying to think of someone funny, like if David Brent from the British Office steals, like Ricky Gervais just steals the snow globe.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, you've got Bunch.
Oh, Yeah, so this is one of my favorite runs. Of course, I read it when it was coming out, so I don't know how well some of this has aged. A lot of it, there's a lot of pop culture references to stuff in the '90s that may have flown even over your head.
Yep.
Um, like when they're yelling about Newt, and I'm cracking up because it's a Newt Gingrich joke, but then you're like, you probably have no clue what that is.
Yeah, I mean, like I've definitely heard the name Newt Gingrich. Could not
Hmm.
tell you exactly who he is.
Well,
um,
he's what they named Newt Gunray after in Phantom Menace. Newt is Newt Gingrich, and Gunray is a mixed up of Reagan. So anyway,
ah,
yeah, fun fact. So Newt Gunray is a Republican. So there you go.
and Asian.
Yes, and vaguely
um,
Transylvanian or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I mean, like this is what it comes down to. Is I think Deadpool works, and you really couldn't do Deadpool any other way. But I think Deadpool is something that works in 10-year increments. Um, and you got to accept that it's not going to age well.
Well, there's that, and but also I think this is kind of a blueprint for how to make Deadpool work. Where he,
Yeah.
yes, he's a crazy person, but he's trying to do the right thing. He's kind of Charlie Browning it,
Mhm.
and
Oh, and whenever I say it doesn't age well, I'm talking about the
oh
jokes.
yeah,
Like,
the
yeah,
jokes. I mean, joke humor is
A,
yeah,
subjective, and B, uh, always timely.
yeah,
As far as like just Deadpool as a character, oh, this works beautifully. This is I see how we get from here to Remender's X Force.
yeah. And so I'll say this: there's so many writers after this that just do not know how to write Deadpool. They do not. It drives me crazy, and I'll read and I'm like, you're missing what makes this character tick. He's not just witty one liners kill people. There's a lot more to this character. And when you get it right, it's awesome. And when you get it wrong, I'm bored. I'm just bored to tears. I think
Uh,
the
have you read Christopher? I know Christopher Priest kind of takes over a little bit, and I like Christopher Priest. Have you read any of
So
that stuff?
here's the thing. I kept reading this when Joe Clay left the book for probably at least 6 issues. And he has a great joke on the first page where it's Deadpool just carrying a bag that says everything that Joe Kelly did that made this book work, and Deadpool just throws it in the trash.
That's really funny. That's funny.
so, so fun fact, I have on my shelf the next omnibus of I think the whole run up to Agent X. I have not read it, so now I'm tempted. I'm tempted to finish reading the Joe Kelly run and read it, and then jump into that and actually read it for the first time and just see how crazy it gets. I won't make that a show requirement or nothing.
No, no, it. Let's just say the way that I read these, it's very difficult to
Yeah,
read
yeah, yeah.
the way that it.
So we're gonna take this time. I'm not sure what we're doing next week, but I do know what the next book club is.
Yeah.
So this will be a good time to mention that. Uh, the next book club is Bone, a comic book that I think is essential reading, especially if you have younger readers. We're gonna kick this off. We'll probably do our show probably around the first second week in September. We're doing the first 3 volumes, Out of Bone Bill, Great Cow Race, and the Coming Storm. I think is the third one.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to join in, I highly recommend these, and I think like every library in America is required to have these, so you should be able to find a copy.
I can never tell if you're joking or if it's actually a requirement.
This is always like on like the top of the list of most recommended, or at least it
Oh,
used to be. I don't know if it currently is, but it used to be like required reading at libraries. So
do you think that because I used to work at a bookstore and every kid would come in looking for Dog Man?
mm-hmm.
Is this like the old Dog Man?
Kinda, yeah, I think so. Um, I don't know if it was ever as popular as Dogman because Dogman is crazy popular, but yeah.
Which is hilarious because even Captain Underpants wasn't as popular as Dog Man is now.
It is bonkers how popular. Um,
I've never read any of Dogman, and part of me is like, I kind of want to just because like I like children's entertainment up to a point, and I want to
mhm.
see like, but even then, this Dogman, or not, I'm like this form of children's entertainment definitely seems like something that I could understand over like the Amazing World of Gumball, which I do not understand at all.
Here's the thing about Bone. They've been trying to make it into a cartoon trilogy for decades. And I think Nickelodeon had the rights for a long time. It just never worked. And I kind of hope it never works. I think kids should have to go read the book. Read the book, put it in front of a kid, let them have a time with it. It's funny. It gets tragic towards the end. It's a whole Lord of the Rings type adventure. It's really good. So we will be talking about the first part of that in September, and
I think next week we said something about an alien show because Romulus comes out this weekend.
okay, we'll talk more about that off air. But yeah,
Yeah.
something aliens next week. But until then, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond.
See ya.